It's a beautiful day in Discovery Mountain. Miss Michelle is in her cafe, but she seems to be worried about something. Let's find out what's going on.
Oh, what am I going to do?
Hey, Mom, what's going on? What you looking at?
It's my ledger for the cafe. Business has been picking up, which is great, but I don't know about taxes and expenses and all of this business stuff. Your father always did this when we were together. I should have learned it for myself. I really don't know what I'm doing.
Is there someone you can ask for help? What about Mr. Simon? He used to be an accountant for Billsby Builders.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. That's wonderful. I'll give him a call right now before the cafe gets busy for the day. Thanks, Judah.
You're welcome, Mom. I'm gonna go hang out with Wyatt. See you later.
Bye. Now, where did I leave that number for Trekkers? No. Let's see. Ah, here it is.
Trekkers, this is George Simon speaking. How can I help you?
Good morning, George. This is Miss Michelle. I'm having some trouble and wondered if you could help me out. Business is great, but I don't know very much about the business side, keeping the books and stuff. I understand from Judah that you used to be an accountant?
Yes, and I do my own books here at Trekkers.
Could I pay you to help me with mine?
I'm sorry, Michelle. I am pretty busy with Trekkers and the camp this summer, so I really don't have time. But there is a new CPA or certified public accountant that's just moved here named Travis Manning. I've worked with him before. He is younger, but super sharp, honest, and will do a great job for you.
Oh, wonderful. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
You bet. I'll call him and send him over now if that works for you.
That would be perfect. Thanks again. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Miss Michelle was so pleased that Travis Manning was in charge of the business part of the cafe. She was able to focus on her baking and her kids and not have to worry about it. After a few weeks, though, she decided she should go and check the ledger.
Let's see here. Expenses, groceries, electricity, water, permits, blah, blah, blah. Looks normal. Oh, and what Travis gets paid. Good. Everything looks pretty good. Hang on a minute. What's this here at the bottom of the page? TM, and it looks like 10% is being taken out of all the money I make. 10%? Wow, that's weird. And who's TM? It must be Travis Manning, of course. He's paying himself twice. First with what we agreed on, and then an added 10% of what I make on top of that. He's embezzling. That's stealing. Oh, I have to talk to George.
Trekkers, this is George Simon speaking. How can I help you?
George, this is Miss Michelle. I'm really confused and angry about something, and I hope you can help me.
Goodness, of course. What's the matter?
Well, George, you vouched for Travis Manning. You said he was a good worker and honest.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. He's stealing from me.
He would never. What makes you think that?
In the ledger, he has his pay and also TM written down at the bottom of the page. He's paying himself twice.
Doesn't seem right. But tell you what, I'm going to call him and we'll both meet at the cafe in a couple of minutes.
Thanks for helping me figure this out, George. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Travis should be here in a minute and we'll go over the books together.
Hey, George. Michelle, what's going on?
Michelle had a question about TM in her ledger.
Yes. Why are you taking 10% of my money for yourself? Don't I pay you enough? You know how hard life is right now.
You didn't mention it was 10%, Michelle. I think I know what's going on.
You do? Well, would someone please tell me?
10% of the profit you make is being set aside as tithe money. You know, TM, not Travis Manning.
What's tithe money?
Well, God asked that we give him 10% of the profit we make as business owners, or 10% of all the money we make if we work for someone else. It's a reminder to us that everything belongs to God, and all our blessings are from him.
Oh, I'm so very sorry. I had never heard of that before.
No, I'm sorry. I should have discussed it with you. I'm a Christian and George is too. I just assume you were as well. God always gives a special blessing to those who pay tithe. I want to make sure you got that.
I guess you could call me a baby Christian. I wasn't aware of this, but I really like the idea.
Tithes and offerings are very important to Christians. It keeps us from forgetting about the one who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and it's God who gives us everything. Tithe is what he asks for in return. Offerings are what we give willingly as an added thank you for his blessings. It says in Proverbs 3:9, "Honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruits of all your increase. So your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will overflow."
I love that. Travis, will you put an added 10% down in the book for offerings? God has been so good to me here in Discovery Mountain. I love the fact that this is a way I can thank him.
Of course.
And I apologize for jumping to conclusions instead of just talking to you first. And George, I'm sorry to you too for not trusting you either.
Don't mention it.
You're forgiven. Now, any chance we can get some muffins while we're here?
You bet.
I'm sure happy that Miss Michelle discovered the truth and that Travis was only looking to pass on God's blessings to her and the cafe. How about you? Well, sometimes remembering to give God our first fruits can be difficult, but His blessings are poured out upon us. Now, do you remember the memory verse? It's Proverbs chapter 3 and verses 9 to 10, and this is what it says. Honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruits of all your increase, so your barns will be filled with plenty and your vats will overflow. We can all use reminders from time to time of just how much God provides for us through our generosity and love for Him. Remember this as you exercise your faith. I'm Miss Jean, and you've been listening to a mini adventure in Discovery Mountain, where the air is clear enough to hear your imagination, and where every day is an exercise in faith. Visit us at discoverymountain.com and connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Today's episode was written by Natalie Barton.